Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Liverpool One shopping centre. It's fantastic to see such a brilliant weather day, and so many people out jumping with the corporations, helping to rescue this country from the recession.
No, I haven't got permission to be here, but I'm here.
Permission to be here.
You're not speaking on a loud dial with all due respect, you're not holding the placard up.
Well, if I was holding out, I have to go.
You'd have to seek permission, yeah.
Excuse me, can I just ask you, do you have permission to be here? Do you have permission to be here?
What is really going on?
What is it you're doing exactly?
We're just talking on the loud here.
Free hugs?
Huh?
Oh man, this is dramatic,
It's on the other side.
this protest.
Shopping.
It's not a protest.
And Liverpool One.
Right, anyway guys, good luck on this. I'll see you later.
Need permission to be here. You want to make a public statement.
So it's private property? And you are?
What do you mean I am?
Are you like the manager of security?
Well, at the end of the day, I am the person who's responsible.
Okay, that's fair enough. Can I just make one more?
No. Thank you. Father, bye.
The very nice security guards in the wonderful uniforms over there have told us that we cannot speak on a loudhailer on Liverpool One property because it's private land. Interesting. So as you can see, I have now walked beyond the bollards and I will continue talking on the loudhailer. Now I am on North John Street, which as you might have noticed is beyond the bollards, making it public property. As I was saying a minute ago, in this country today, we are entering what some would call a police state. And this police state works by they make everything private property, so no one can do anything. You're allowed freedom of speech in this country, but apparently on private land, which is in the Liverpool One, you are not allowed free speech. You have to have permission for whatever you're doing here. But I ask you, who the hell gave them the right to sell our land to Lord Grosvenor? The Duke of Westminster now owns this complex in Liverpool. This is one of the most richest, powerful men in the whole country, and now, just because the government say so, he can own this street and he can own it and tell us what can go on here, what we're allowed to say and what we're not allowed to say. But if they hadn't sold it, it'd be my street and it'd be your street and no one could tell us what to do. We'd like to remind everyone in Liverpool One that the benches here were not built for your convenience. They were built for emergency use only when you cannot stand up a single minute longer. You over there, please stop sitting and start shopping. The only way we will save the country's economy is if we all shop at enormous corporations. Sure, the heads of these corporations have enormous amounts of money already, but I think they need more. 10 billion is not enough for one man.
Is it that sort of thing?
It might be closer in line with some.
People like in the purge of the Westminster. What's he doing wrong? That guy's ever so generous. You shouldn't do that.
Ever so generous by stealing our land and...
Where does it say sure?
Huh?
Where does it say
It's public. This is public land. This is your land. It's my land. It's your land. Your land.
Listen, I'm sorry. It's not a thing.
My conscience is aware that people, capitalism is crushing us as well as giving us a handout.
Yeah.
It's giving you one hand and taking it off you in the other. And that's what capitalism does. It's supposed to be, like just adverts of, my son says that there's a toothpaste advert on, and apparently you're going to be the most handsomest man on earth, you're going to have the most beautiful woman, you're going to have beautiful children, you're going to be rich, you're going to use this toothpaste, and that's the power of advertisements, that's the power of this. this is convenient for me, Liverpool One, and it's been good because we've used it to our advantage. But I'm constantly aware that it's what he's saying is right. It's about keeping us all quiet and giving us what we want, what they tell us we want.
I just think
what we've got to
the
sacrifice.
jobs and everything else that this development has created makes
it okay in the end.
Makes it okay, but I mean, it's always going to be a bitter pill to swallow that you can't walk down the street and do whatever you want to do. However, I think personally, I'm willing to accept that with development comes those restrictions because of the benefits of this development.
I mean, there are lots of shops.
Such as the jobs, such as the improvement of living status in Britain.
Your point's probably quite common and quite obvious points. There's always sacrifices to make with development, but at the same time, there are underlying much more sacrifices than being able to walk down the streets. That's only one. That's what you're talking about. I think that's this deeper.
This is a different debate. Now we've got into
it may be a bit deeper. Is that right?
I mean, like stuff like so you're saying about jobs and stuff like that. I'm sure that's great. That doesn't mean they've got to privatise the land itself. I mean, there are shops here and all that land's public. But that's like it's about control and it's about like making sure that that they've got everything the way they want and the ordinary people can't express themselves the way they want. So simple thing if you can try and go and speak your mind on the streets. I mean, South John Street, it's a street. There's not really anymore. It's owned by somebody else. And that's a symptom of what's happened to the whole of society. It is all private. And the NHS and schools, they're all going private now. It's all private buildings. We've got these like academy schools and all stuff like that. And it's happening to everything. It's not just our streets. Everything in our lives is going taken away from us and owned by someone who's very rich.
And there are states, there are places where you can't actually do that. They talk about freedom of speech. Is that just an illusion? Have we got freedom of speech? Have we?
Have we got freedom of press?
Have we got freedom of anything? Have we got freedom of choice? Are we bringing our children up thinking, I'm not letting anybody else tell my child to drink alcohol? But I've got no say because Liverpool One have got a fabulous place up there and they're watching all that and they're coming back and saying, that I can't wait a couple more years. I'll be able to drink whiskey from the finest places and the water from the finest, and I'll be able to look like that strong and powerful man and have the world at my feet because I drink whiskey. How do I compete against that? And that's the power of capitalism. And then us just little tiny people, just little tiny women. We've got no say. Our sons, that we're, I want my son to be. I want my son to go in the UN. I want my son to stand here. I want my son to protest. My partner doesn't. He's saying no. Don't risk my son to change the world. But I think we've all got to do that. I think everyone has a responsibility.
Private property is set up. Where I'm standing now, I'm not a criminal. But if I take one pace forward into the Liverpool One district, I'm suddenly a criminal. If I step back again, I'm no longer a criminal. What if I stand here with 1 foot on and 1 foot off? What does that make me?
Half a criminal.
Half a criminal, the gentleman says. I wonder, if this was to go to court and I were to go to prison, what would they do with me? Would they send half of my body to prison?
It's just it's just on.
Would you like a hug? Yeah. Might as well. They're pretty close. Like, if it's private property, you've got to respect what they're saying. Like, it's not fair to everyone else.
Such a police officer with a microphone.
Huh?